This is a battery. Most of you know that a battery has a negative terminal and a positive terminal. In an odd twist of scientific blunder, the positive terminal has a surplus of electrons. And electrons are negatively charged. So the positive terminal of a battery has a negative charge. But be that as it may, batteries are useful. One of the common uses of batteries is the ordinary flashlight. This is my utility flashlight. How you like it? Well, the flashlight is of no value unless it has a power source. Now, the existence of the power source does not help this battery in any way. The power source must in fact be plugged in. Now we have a complete flashlight. Well, kind of, because you see, there's an on switch here. And until the on switch is turned on, no work gets done. It's not enough for the battery source to exist. You know, God exists. And it's not enough just to have it plugged in. You can plug in. I hear churches saying, come plug in our congregation. Well, that's a step in the right direction. But you have to make a volitional choice to turn on if your light's going to shine. When you turn it on, that completes the circuit. In other words, now the electrons are able to flow from the positive terminal to the negative terminal. Now, understand this. Electrons flow to ground just as certainly as water flows to the ocean. Electrons, that's their nature. They are going to go to ground. But in a flashlight, the electrons are on their way from the positive end of this battery to the negative end of this battery, but there's something standing in the way. That's right, there's something standing in the way. The light bulb. Do you realize the light bulb is in fact an obstacle to the path of the electrons as they flow to ground? And the electrons encounter the filament of that light bulb and they can't get through, and they struggle and they struggle and they push and they push and they get behind each other and they line up and they swirl around, they bounce around, they do everything they can, and the light bulb element heats up. It heats up so much that it glows and it produces light. Now, wouldn't it be nice in our Christian walk if there were no obstructions? We all have obstructions, don't we? I mean, I won't enumerate all of them, but in your Christian walk, there is obstruction after obstruction. So much better it would be if we could just get rid of those obstructions. In fact, haven't all of us prayed at one time or another, God, remove that obstruction? Well, for a moment, let's consider what would happen in the world of a battery if the obstruction was removed and a clear path from the positive terminal to the negative terminal, unobstructed, were to be provided.
Whoa. Oh.
Well, as you can see from that example, there's a lot of overheating that occurs. In fact, there is a meltdown, and then there is a fire, and that fire impacts other people negatively. So bad is the short circuit that we have a thing called a fuse. Also, in our homes, we have circuit breakers. When a short circuit is detected, a direct path from the power to ground, it would be better to interrupt that circuit and open that circuit so that no work is done, rather than have an unobstructed path. Folks, when we see obstacles in life, rather than try to remove them, shouldn't we try to embrace them? Because that's the work that gets done. That's the light in our life. You know, when you see an obstacle, you can go over it. And you say, well, I can't do that. It's too tall. Well, maybe you should get some help. Maybe you should stand on somebody else's shoulders. Maybe you should get a ladder. Or maybe you should go around it. Well, you know, if you go around it, you may actually have to get further away from the goal. Can you do that? Can I do that? In order to get from point A to point B, you may have to travel a long ways around the obstacle. Or you can go through it. You can bore through that thing. You can take a sledgehammer and you can pound on it and say, no, it's not working. Oh, keep pounding on it and chip away and chip away and chip away until you finally make a small hole in that wall that stands between you and your goal. And once you have a small hole, now you can chip away at that small hole and you can make it bigger and bigger and bigger until you can easily go through the barrier. Or you can go under it. Well, to go under it, you might need some tools. You might need a shovel, and you dig and you dig and you dig and you dig, but it's just never enough. Well, you may need to get a backhoe. You may need to get a bigger shovel. You may need to put more power than you have by yourself to get under that obstacle. Life is obstacles. It's what makes life meaningful. It's why we're here. By the way, in the example of a battery, once the electrons have made their journey from the positive terminal to ground, that's called a dead battery. You see, we don't have an infinite power source in and of ourselves. We have to recharge our batteries. We recharge our batteries by spiritual renewal, by fellowship with God, by time in the Word, and connecting with other believers in fellowship. Well, I hope we've had fun with our battery example today and comparing it with our spiritual walk. I hope it's been a source of encouragement to you, and I hope that you have been inspired by it. But most of all, I hope you've been empowered by it so that your light will shine out there. Hey, had fun today. Hey, what's your thoughts? I'd love to hear from you. Please make a comment. Leave it on the space provided on this page. And if you would like to see other inspirational videos, the Empower channel welcomes you to subscribe. We have men and women who contribute their devotional videos as well. What about you? Is there an obstacle that's keeping you from your personal ministry? Well, the Empower Network would like to invite you to join us and help you make short videos that will not only encourage others in their spiritual walk, it will grow you. It's an obstacle that you could embrace.